I don't know how they do that. I'm still lost in how Citadel cost $300 million. Like,
It's baffling. Well, people were swearing up and down. We pulled the initial financial reporting in the UK for the Acolyte, showing a $50 million spend in pre-production. I mean, it was that financial return was through September 24th of last year, 2022. That was a month at least before cameras started rolling, or right around a month before.
that sounds like because the $50 million price tag, that sounds like construction of a stagecraft
Oh
volume
yeah,
stage.
it was probably the initial lease and security deposit for Shinfield. They
Mhm.
built these huge outdoor sets in a back lot behind the soundstage at Shinfield that Bespin Bulletin had big aerial shots of, like drone shots.
You think the dirty hippies helped build that out in the fields for them before they did the photo shoot?
For Snow White? It could have been.
Yeah.
Could have been.
Same place.
Was that with Snow White at Shinfield, or was it Pinewood? I think they were. Well, they're close.
I think it's Shinfield, actually.
They sent them over there. Yeah. So
get the hippies.
But I mean, it just goes to show you what they spend, and people were like, "Oh, that's got to be money laundering," and I'm like, "No. That's what they're all spending. Look at Secret Invasion. Look at all these other shows. That's what they're spending on these crazy things now. That's Disney's problem. Is this nutball level of spending, and they've got to dial it back.
Well, not only that, they're not negotiating the costs, because the fact of the matter is, you want to build a set inside Shenfield, and if you want to go build outside stuff, you're not getting into a $50 million range for that unless you're trying to make that set almost 100% functional in camera, which is stupid. You don't even do that. Sets are supposed to be facades. They're not supposed to be actual functioning, living in, pieces for you to play around with. It just boggles the mind that you would have to do that. George Lucas, his set that he built in Tunisia didn't cost him $10,000 to dig out a hole and do all that stuff there for the Lars homestead. How in the heck could you ever justify expenses of that, especially with their code names, which they have production code names specifically so that they don't get built by the local vendors on their spending? Yeah, because that's just how it is. It's like, oh, we know you're a Disney thing. Well, if you want to have our services, this is what we charge the hour for Disney. But what do you charge for, the BBC studio? Oh, 10% of what we're actually charging you. Because that's what they do. It's messed up. I mean, again, even when I was reviewing those reports that are on your channel and that were also shared online, I was like, nobody is properly budgeting this correctly. There's too much money being spent on too little return. And it doesn't even look like they can amortize it into other productions at this point either, which is usually what you do when you do a set construction.
Right? That's just it. Now, the problem was, like with the Acolyte, was because, well, what else can we use this for? Because this show is set hundreds of years before any other thing they've ever done so far with Disney Lucasfilm, right? So if we build a set for Mando or for Book of Boba Fett, ostensibly, we can use that for Ahsoka. We can use the props. We can use the same costumes. It's in the same time frame, the same era. We make a show like The Acolyte, which has to look, well, there's got to be Jedi and stuff, but it's got to look totally different than anything else because it's 2 centuries removed. I'm spitballing, Script. I mean, maybe that's why they spent so damn much prepping the show, because they couldn't use anything that they already had, because they had to make some. I mean, you have Doug Chang over there at Lucasfilm, who's the senior VP of creative art, basically designs all these worlds and designs all this stuff. Been working at Lucasfilm, you probably know, for 2-3 decades, since George still owned it, well before Disney was there. But you got to build new stuff.
He animated the initial design for the new would-be TIE fighters before George changed his mind on that.
Yep.
Here's the other thing too. Star Wars is a lived-in universe, so it doesn't matter if it's supposed to take 200 years or so ago. A lot of the buildings you see in current time Star Wars are that old, if not older. Some of them are better maintained than others. It's like, no, you could repurpose this. The fact of the matter is that a lot of the sets from some of the clips that I've seen of the Acolyte on their sizzle reel, I'm like, this just looks like the Mos Eisley Cantina from a different angle. This looks like the set that we saw in Obi-Wan Kenobi.
We're finally going to get Batu, Script. Come on.
Yeah.
Something to tie into Disney World.
I'm not seeing anything in here that couldn't be done for an eighth of the price, either stateside or definitely overseas, where you get more value of your dollar. Like if they were going to Georgia or anywhere else in that region, it would make more sense to actually build over there because you're getting more for your dollar. There's no reason for them to have ever shot in Shinfield. Like, it just makes no sense, other than the fact that maybe the people who are working on the show are like, I just want to spend a year in Britain.
You mean like Leslie? You mean like Leslie Headland? Yes, I can see that.
She wants to get out of the United States because her former boss is now in jail.
I mean, there are reasonably competitive tax credits elsewhere.
Yes.
I mean, it's not like the UK has cornered the market on film tax credits at the scale they are. I mean, I think part of it is because Disney has a very well-established corporate presence in the UK because of Disney UK. This is why you see people like Tracy Birmingham is on as the CEO of every UK entity they create, whether it's Pym Productions 3 for Ant-Man and the Wasp, or if it's Sandcastle Productions or whatever for Little Mermaid, or all these LLCs or over their limited companies, LTDs in the UK. They're very well established there. They have a very lucrative and ready to go line of credit at who I believe Script is at Lloyd's is who they use, probably for billions. And the reason I picked Lloyd's is because I did some digging and I said, well, they're either at HSBC or they're at Lloyd's or they're at Barclays. Those are your biggie three over there in the UK.
Bet you dimes to dollars they have accounts with all three of them.
Probably all three, but the reason I picked on Lloyd's Script was because Lloyd's is the only one that offers their customers who open a new membership with their bank a free year of Disney Plus. Didn't take much sleuthing to figure that one out.
Oh no, I mean here's the other part too. Like Warner
yeah.
Brothers had accounts with HSBC. I don't think they have them there anymore because of the controversy that they went through 8 to 10 years ago.
HSBC did.
Yes, they found out they were laundering money for a certain organization that liked to attack people.
Oh man, I forgot all about that.
Yeah.
As soon as you said that, I was like, I remember that.
I know that because I dated someone that was with that bank when that happened, and she was freaking out because
I'm glad you said that bank and not that organization.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, the point is that, I mean, Disney and all these companies have multi-billion-dollar lines, especially the big ones, billions of dollars of lines of credit out there with these, guys to produce this. So it's like, well, look, if we go to the UK, we've already got everything there. We're good customers of Pinewood. We got a contract now. We've signed a multi-picture deal with Shinfield. So we can go over there and we can spend our money there efficiently. We don't have to fight too much to get our film tax credit. We're already pre-approved. It might just be an issue of just we're used to this. We have relationships there. It's very easy for us to just inject a new project and go.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only thing I can come up with.
Well, the other part too that I'm thinking about is I think as a result of the pandemic and the shutdown and the fact that people are charging more to make up for the losses of wages over those 3 years, that could lead to why there's such a huge expense on the labor side of things, because most of what you're seeing on those budgets isn't really for supplies and materials, it's labor. And if you're negotiating for people where you're paying them 3 or 4 times what they normally paid for in say $2018, that's where you're getting that inflated cost.